What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality Podcast. I'm your host. I'm Caitlin Kenneth Smith. And in today's episode, we're going to dive into some of the most common fitness and nutrition myths that are holding people back from reaching their true potential. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I feel like in today's day and age, we can scroll through social media and we can find really anything when it comes to nutrition. We can find one person telling us that carbs are the enemy, but then scroll to the next slide or scroll to the next reel and you'll find somebody saying that carbs are essential and you need them for the best performance and you can't build muscle without them. And then you'll go to the next one and it'll tell you you need to eat carnivore, but the next reel says you need to be a vegan. So you're overwhelmed, you're confused more than anything. And if you're confused on something, you will not take action on something because you won't have the confidence to be able to understand, like, this feels like it's the right plan. And if you're always kind of second guessing yourself, you're never truly going to be all in. So I wanted to talk about a lot of the misconceptions you've probably heard time and time again, the ones that are keeping you stuck in a cycle of confusion, frustration, and really just self-doubt. And these myths specifically, these 10 things that I'm going to talk about, I actually posted them today on my Instagram account. And I didn't give any context to them. I just kind of listed them out over 10 different slides. So I wanted to take the time in this podcast to really break down each and every one of them and explain why this is a myth, why you shouldn't believe it, and what you can do instead to actually help you get the results that you want and break through all of the confusion. One of the biggest missions of this podcast is to be able to break through the bullshit because there's so much of it out there. And I've fallen victim to it myself. I mean, when I had an eating disorder back in, 2012, 2015, I don't even know the years anymore. But when I developed my eating disorder, it was because of a lot to do with myself and with my ability to gain control over what I ate when my life was falling apart. But a lot of the influence came from social media. When Instagram really first got started, I was obsessed with fitness Instagram. So I was following a lot of, we'll call them influencers now, but before they were just people posting about health and fitness. And there were so many things that were taboo on that app. Like you would go to one post and it'd be like, here's a 1,200 calorie diet. And now I know with all of my knowledge and my experience that nobody should be eating 1,200 calories. But at the time, it was like one of those things that you need to eat 1,200 calories in order to lose weight. And for me, I would see like, hey, don't eat dairy. Hey, don't eat whole eggs. Only eat egg whites. Don't eat red meat. Don't eat this. Don't eat that. And I want to kind of help you understand that there's no off limits when it comes to foods. There's moderation with certain types of foods because they maybe don't necessarily serve you. But you shouldn't fear anything is kind of what I'm getting to. But let's break these down. First, I'll list all of them out, so that way you just kind of get an idea of the post if you didn't already see it on my Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, what are you doing with your life? You're listening to my podcast. I appreciate you. Go follow my Instagram account because then you'll get a little bit of short form content. We always love the short form content, although I am a sucker for long form content because, look, on my Instagram, I broke down these 10 things and I just listed them out. But here, I'm going to have a conversation with you about why these 10 things are myths. So 10 nutrition myths busted and the real truth you need to hear. 1, carbs don't make you fat. Overeating does. 2, no, you don't need a detox. Your liver does that for you. 3, healthy fats won't make you fat and low-fat diets won't make you burn fat. 4, counting calories works only if you're consistent. It's not magic. 5, eating after 7 p.m. won't make you gain weight. It's about your total daily intake. 6, you don't need a cheat meal to enjoy food. 7, there's no perfect diet. What works is consistency, not trends. 8, supplements won't save you. Hard work and real food will. 9, if your diet has a name, cut it. It's just another fad that probably won't last. And 10, hitting your protein goal with protein shakes and bars alone won't cut it. Real food builds real results. So let's get into my favorite one, which is number 1. Carbs don't make you fat. Overeating does. So carbs have been demonized for years. Back in the 90s, the Atkins diet became popular, which was the first real low carb approach, where people started cutting carbs and they started seeing results because guess what? They were cutting overall calories. So a person who was eating in a calorie surplus cut out most of an entire macronutrient group, which carbs have 4 calories per gram. So if I cut out 100 grams of carbs, I'm cutting out 400 calories, which probably will put most people in a deficit. So now I went from being in a caloric surplus or at maintenance to cutting 100 grams of carbs, being at a deficit, and now I'm losing weight. Magic. But also, people fail to recognize that carbs come with water. So 1 gram of carb comes with about 3 to 4 grams of water. So for every gram of carb that I eat or don't eat, I have 3 to 4 grams of water added or subtracted. So that's why people who start a keto diet or a low carb approach all of a sudden lose all of this weight very quickly in the first week or two, and they think that they've unlocked the code, that this is the magical approach that will work, that will get them to their goals. But then they realize about a month later that, one, they feel like shit, their workouts suck, they have brain fog. Maybe, it depends, because if you're eating correctly on keto, it can actually help with brain function. But again, it depends on what you're doing. If you're somebody who's training consistently and doing workouts, which I'm assuming most of you are if you're on a fat loss journey, your workouts are going to probably suck because carbs are your main fuel source for those workouts. What I also find when people start cutting carbs is they have a lot of mood issues because carbs help to produce serotonin. So you get a little bit moody, and nobody likes your mood, but also a lot of people do struggle with sleep. Just because, again, you're not giving your body and the brain the fuel that it needs to function at its highest capacity. But the biggest thing with cutting carbs for most people is that it just isn't sustainable. We like carbs. Our body feels good on carbs. It's our main fuel source for a reason. It's our body's preferred fuel source for a reason. As an athlete, I would not be where I am today without the lovely partnership of carbs. I give carbs a lot of my success in my training. The point of the matter is, even if there was any research behind a low carb approach being more beneficial for fat loss, which there is not, search. You won't find any. But even if there was research behind it, it doesn't matter if you can't sustain it. So think about it like this. The carbs, they've been demonized. But the truth is, it's overeating any macronutrient, whether it's carbs, whether it's fats, whether it's protein, that leads to that weight gain. If you're in a calorie surplus, you're gaining weight, whether that surplus comes from protein, whether it comes from carbs, whether it comes from fats. Same thing with being in a deficit. You'll lose weight whether it comes from carbs, fats, protein. Now, carbs are actually the essential source of energy, especially for athletes, like I said, but it's also for your brain. So if you're not an athlete, everything that you're doing throughout the day that requires fuel requires carbs. We use fat for low intensity. But here's what actually works. Balancing your carbs with your overall caloric needs. So moderation is key. If you want to lose fat, focus on creating a calorie deficit and fueling your body with quality nutrient-dense carbs. The reason why carbs have gotten a bad rap is because a lot of highly processed foods that are honestly the reason why we're in an obesity epidemic right now contain a lot of carbs. They're easy to overconsume. I could sit down and eat a whole package of Oreos, which I have done in my life. Not proud of it, kind of proud of it. But when I was in high school, me and my friend, I remember it was the night before a cross-country 1 mile time trial, so definitely not ideal. We ate an entire 2 packs of Oreos, like combined, right? We had a mint Oreo, and then we had a double stuff. Those are 2 of the best Oreos out there. And we ate them all because they were really easy to overeat. But that's all carbs. There's not a lot of protein in that, right? There's maybe like a gram. However, if I was to do the same thing and eat the same calories in chicken breast, I don't think I'd be able to do that. If I was going to sit down and eat the same calories in potato I don't think I'd be able to do that. Same thing with broccoli. I wouldn't be able to do that because it's so much different in satiation based on the fiber, based on the nutrients. So think about it like that. It's less about carbs and more about where they are coming from. Okay, my hip flexor is right now spasming. It's crazy. Shoot, I need more electrolytes apparently. But the main thing I'm going to leave this one at is the thing that you need if you want to lose body fat is you have to be in a calorie deficit. The second most important thing is to hit your daily protein intake. There's plenty of research out there that shows that those who are in a calorie deficit without prioritizing protein versus those who are in a calorie deficit who are prioritizing protein, those who prioritize protein see better results, not just initially, but long term. So protein and calories are the biggest things for you to focus on. Don't intentionally cut carbohydrates with the thought that the carbs are the problem. It's over consuming as a whole. And if you're eating high quality, nutrient dense forms of carbs, it's going to be very difficult to overeat. So focus on whole foods over processed foods. Now, number 2. No, you don't need a detox. Your liver does that for you. Now, I feel like the detox craze is starting to maybe calm down a little bit, but it got really scary there for a second. It was huge. But guess what? Your body already has a natural detox system in place. Your liver, your kidneys, and your digestive system are constantly working to remove the toxins in the body. So instead of relying on expensive detox programs or supplements, focus on a healthy, balanced diet with plenty of fiber, protein, whole foods, water, antioxidants to help support your body's natural detoxification process. A lot of the reason why people think they need a detox and why they are like, oh my gosh, I did this detox and it was magical, is because they were probably eating a lot of crap or even just over consuming a lot of inflammatory foods, a lot of processed foods, a lot of oils, fried foods, things like that. And then they did this detox where they just had juice, which is like probably more micronutrients than they had in their entire life. And they took out food. So, hey, look, food weighs something. So when I was sick a couple months ago, I was 123 pounds before I got sick. And then I went 3 days where I basically had like a protein bar each day because that was the only thing that sounded good to me. And I got down to 118 pounds, I think. I didn't lose 4 pounds of fat in a day. I just didn't eat food. So I lost 4 pounds of my food in a day, in a couple days. So think of it the same way. If I were to just go from eating like the typical American diet, which is 80% processed food, and I went into this detox juice cleanse for a week, I'm going to drop a lot of weight, but it's water weight and it's food weight. It's not fat. In fact, I would argue that you're more likely to lose muscle in that scenario because you're intaking little to no protein. You're not able to strength train because you don't have the energy to do so. And you're eating such low calories that you're not supporting your body's muscle. But also, a lot of those juices can have a lot of calories. So maybe you don't go into a calorie deficit and you literally just lost water weight and then you gain it all back in a week. And it's not fun to be on that yo-yo train. If you can't see yourself being able to do something for longer than 6 months, then it's not the right approach. And that's how I want you to look at the detox process. So unless you've literally been diagnosed by your doctor that something is wrong with your liver and kidneys that they can't properly detox, because that is something that could happen, but it's more rare, you don't need a detox. And even in that case, you don't need a juice detox or a cleanse. You just need help from your doctor. But that's where I'm going to end that one. You don't need a detox. You don't need to waste your money on those things because, dear Lord, they are expensive. They are expensive. You could definitely invest that money in coaching, in workout equipment, in whole nutrient-dense foods from the grocery store. You can make so many better choices. Number 3, and this is one that I actually believed for a while in the beginning of my fitness journey, to the point where it was detrimental actually to my health, where I actually lost my menstrual cycle because of it. Healthy fats won't make you fat, and low-fat diets won't help you burn fat. So healthy fats are a critical part of a balanced, healthy diet. However, low-fat diets have been pushed for years with the idea that they actually can help burn fat. It makes sense if you just think about it from like a outsider's perspective without looking at like the actual science behind it. It's like, well, fat, I don't want to get fat, so then I'll just cut fat. That will work. It does not work like that because fat that we ingest is different from fat that is adipose tissue on our frame. So the problem with low-fat diets is that healthy fats are critical. They are critical for hormone production, for joint health, for recovery. And if our hormones are impacted negatively, that can actually cause us to hold on to body fat, to have our cortisol levels raised, and to have our body struggle to hold on to and create muscle tissue. So the thing that actually works is incorporating healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, grass-fed beef, grass-fed salmon, wild-caught salmon, omega-3s, that help to support the metabolism, hormone balance, and keeps you feeling full. So it's about choosing the right types of fat. Like if you're getting your fat from fried chicken, probably not going to be the best idea. And again, it does come down to like if you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. But if you're in a calorie deficit and eating fried chicken, you're probably going to have a lot of inflammation because that's just not the right kind of fat that helps our body function at an optimal level. So again, we come back to the same place that we came back to with the first two. Whole foods are king. Okay? Number 4, counting calories works only if you're consistent. It's not magic. The amount of times I've had clients who are like, but I'm counting my calories. Okay. Counting calories isn't a one-time fix. It's a tool that works when you're consistent with it. If you're not tracking consistently, your results will be very inconsistent. And a very common thing that I see with clients or with people who become clients is like, when I have somebody become a client, I'll have them track their macros for 10 days so I can get a good idea of what your trends look like, how much we're actually eating. And a lot of the times, it helps people naturally clean up their diet because they're like, oh, well, Caitlin's watching me. I need to eat good, you know? But even if somebody's never tracked calories before, this kind of gives them an insider's look into, oh, this is actually what I've been doing. Oopsies, I thought I was eating 1,600 calories, but it looks like I'm eating 3,200 calories because we severely underestimate how much we actually eat, and we severely overestimate how much protein we eat. I see it so often. I've been in this game for 12 years. I've seen a lot of people's macros, and they always look very identical. So if you're not consistent with counting calories, it doesn't work. If you're not consistent with tracking macros, it doesn't work. If you track macros for 3 days, cool. What happened the other fucking 4 days of the week? Track your calories consistently over time and adjust based on your progress. So just because you're tracking calories doesn't mean it works, right? You need to be, again, if you want to lose body fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. You need to prioritize protein. So if you're tracking your calories, but you're eating 500 calories over what your maintenance is, and you're eating 100 grams less of protein than what you should be, you're not going to get results. So again, it's not the counting of the calories that works. It's hitting the correct numbers, having somebody to guide you to make sure we know what those correct numbers are if you don't have that own self-awareness, and doing it consistently, not occasionally. It's not magic. So, number 5, eating after 7 p.m. won't make you gain weight. It's about your total daily intake. One thing that I like to tell my clients is if I were to eat a bowl of cereal that I weighed out, right? I weighed out a serving of Cheerios, it's about 100 calories. And I had a serving of dry Cheerios. If I ate that at 7 p.m. versus 8 p.m., am I gaining weight because I ate it 1 hour later? No. So the common myth is that eating past 7 p.m. will automatically lead to weight gain. But the truth is it's not when you eat, it's how much you eat and your totally caloric intake for the day. The reason why this became a thing is because the majority of people, when they're eating late at night, say you're sitting on the couch, it's 9 p.m., you had a hard day at work, you finished dinner, you're watching a show with your spouse, you're probably not sitting on the couch and you're like, you know what? I'm going to snack on some Greek yogurt, or I'm going to have some berries, or I'm going to have some chicken. You're probably like, let me get some of those potato chips. Let me grab some cookies. Let me grab some ice cream. It's usually not the fact that you're eating at night. It's the fact that we're over consuming and we're going over our calories for the day. That's really what it comes down to. So I want you to simplify this as much as possible. It's about your total caloric intake. So your body doesn't know what time it is. Your body doesn't reset at midnight. Your body doesn't know that, it's 7 p.m. It's time for me to start storing everything you eat as body fat. 2 minutes ago, I wouldn't have, but now I will. So focus on your overall nutrition and ensure that you're fueling your body throughout the day based on your goals. Another thing that I see with people is that they won't eat all fucking day long and then they'll binge eat at night. And that's why you're putting on weights, because you're over consuming on calories. Number 6, you don't need a cheat meal to enjoy food. The cheat meal culture promotes the idea that you need to reward yourself with a free-for-all meal. But that can lead to guilt, and unfortunately, it leads to a really unhealthy relationship with food, and I've seen this happen time and time again. And it happened for myself for a while. Before I did 75 Hard back in 2020, I thought that I needed to have a cheat meal every single week. It just had to happen. I couldn't survive without it. And then when I started 75 Hard, one of the tasks is no cheat meals. And I went 2 weeks, and I was like, fuck, I don't need a cheat meal. I don't feel deprived at all. I'm fueling my body with the food that it needs. I'm not craving anything. Versus when I was having that cheat meal every week, I was craving like the cookies. I was craving all of the foods that I wouldn't allow myself to have throughout the week. What truly works is discipline. And discipline doesn't mean restriction. It means having balance. It means making this a lifestyle and enjoying your favorite foods, but not feeling like you have to actually binge on them. Creating a mindset where you can enjoy life without using food as a reward or a coping mechanism. The problem is that so many people use food not as fuel, not as something to help me feel good, perform good, and be good throughout my life, but as something to be a coping mechanism for my emotions. So if you want to go out and you want to have a date night with your spouse, have it. Eat the food in moderation. Don't feel the need to binge on it just because it's a cheat meal and now it's a free-for-all. No, just go out, enjoy yourself, and the next decision you make is a good decision. If you can't, one thing that I tell my people, my clients, is if you can't have a slice of cake at your kid's birthday party, that's a problem. You don't have control. You don't have discipline because you think that if I have it, it's going to like open the floodgates and I'm going to have everything. You have to have the discipline to be like, I'm going to have one slice of cake at my kid's party and we're moving on. Number 7 is there's no perfect diet. What creates or what works is consistency, not trends. This is a big one. So with so many diets out there, it's easy to get caught up in finding the perfect one. But just like in life, nothing is perfect. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to nutrition. And what matters is finding what works for you and having self-awareness to know what that looks like. So stop jumping from trend to trend, from diet to diet, and actually focus on just being consistent and focusing on habit and behavioral change and building sustainable habits that align with your lifestyle and goals. So building a routine that you can actually maintain long term. Like I said earlier in the episode, if this diet is something that you cannot do for longer than 6 months, then stop doing it right now and switch your approach. Trends don't work. Consistency, the basics, extreme discipline, and focus to those things work. These trends are just fucking distractions. Number 8, supplements won't save you. Hard work and real food will. Now, let me just be the first to say I fucking love supplements. I work with a supplement company called First Form. All of my clients take supplements. I take a shit ton of supplements. I just love supplements. I'm obsessed with the supplement community. I want to one day create my own supplement brand, the Powerhouse Mentality supplement line. That would be fucking awesome. And it will be when it happens. That's years and years down the line. But I've got stuff going on in my head. The point of the matter is, supplements are meant to supplement. They're not meant to be the end all be all. So supplements can support your goals. They can fill gaps. But they won't replace the hard work you put into training and nutrition. If your nutrition is shit and your training is inconsistent, and you take a multivitamin, that multivitamin ain't doing much for you. So supplements are just that, supplements. They are not magic. There's no magic supplement that you could take that you could find on Instagram scrolling through, and you'll find this magical supplement that an influencer is promoting, and you're like, that's it. That's the one. No, it's not. You just need to be disciplined to the basics. So what truly works is focusing on whole foods first and foremost, getting the right macros, getting the right micros and fiber from your diet, and then supplements can fill those gaps. But the foundation is food and effort. So supplements can fill the gaps in the sense as, hey, I'm not getting in 5 to 7 servings of fruits and veggies every day. Cool. Let's add a multivitamin in so that we can fill those gaps. but you're still eating whole nutrient-dense foods. It's not like it's a fruits and veggies replacement. It's just filling gaps so we can be the most optimal possible. Same thing with protein powder. It's like, I'm really struggling to hit my protein goal through whole foods alone. Cool. Let's add in a protein powder, but you're still going to be eating more whole food protein sources than you are protein powders. And I'll talk about that a little bit later since we touch on that. But again, supplements are just that, supplements. And when you are choosing the right supplements, make sure it's a high quality brand. I saw a post on Instagram yesterday. If you follow Goob, he kind of breaks down different like controversial things, or kind of brings forward a lot of stuff that's going on in the fitness industry, whether it be photo editing, or companies that are lying, or companies that have been sued and things like that. It's really interesting. And he brings forth sex offenders who should be thrown off of social media and who should be like thrown in jail. It's a great page, Goob, if you don't follow him, Goob. But he did one with a supplement company, and I can't remember the name of the supplement company, but the supplement company claimed that it had on its label, I think it was like 25 grams of protein per scoop, 3 grams of carbs, 4 grams of fat, something very, basic, what most protein powders have. However, they posted something on their website that said, due to the popularity of our product, we can no longer keep up with it. We can't produce it. I'm trying to find this reel so I can give you like the full lowdown. Actually, I'll play it.
He was recently caught lying about how much protein was in their protein powder by a lot. Holmes Nutrition! Welcome to the show. This is Holmes Nutrition, 2,000 followers. They're a West Coast company and they sell protein powder, some pre-workouts, etc. You can look at one of their products here, 22 protein, 4 carb, 3 sugar, 120 calories. They recently made an announcement on their website. Let's take a look at it. Unfortunately, we have encountered an unexpected issue with the manufacturing facility for the protein. Due to the large increase in demand, the current facility was having issues. We're quickly searching for new manufacturers and hope to find a company that can grow with us. So they're putting so much demand to these manufacturers that they have to switch because they're just doing so well. And that's why, guys, don't pay attention to anything else. Wait a minute. Ooh, shit. A guy in Reddit actually took some of their protein powder and sent it to a lab for an analysis. They discovered that this protein powder is 70% carbohydrates and 11% protein and 10% fat. That's amazing. So what's funny is these numbers should basically be switched. It's like 21, 22 carbs and like 3 or 4 protein. And yeah, I mean, like shit happens, but like this post on your page.
So the point of the matter is, don't just pick up any random protein powder or random supplement from Walmart because it's the cheapest one that you can find. Do your research. Buy from reputable brands. That's why I love First Form, because all of their products are NSF certified, third-party tested, so you know what's on the label is actually in the supplement, and it tastes great, and it works. I notice a difference when I take their products. So always, First Form supplement link is down below if you'd like to check it out and get something for yourself. But there are a lot of great supplement companies out there. Just make sure you're paying attention to which ones maybe aren't the best. Number 9, if your diet has a name, cut it. It's just another fad diet that won't last. And this is one of my favorite ones because, man, there are a lot of fad diets out there and I love to break them down. You know why all of these diets seem to work for people? Because it puts them in a calorie deficit. They've found something that they can sustain that puts them in a calorie deficit. Those are who are the successful people with these diets. The problem is that how many times have you heard of somebody who's on keto for like 5-6 years? Paleo, 5-6 years, intermittent fasting. It's very rare. So fad diets like keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, carnivore, vegan, they're popular, but often unsustainable and restrictive in the long run, which remember, if you can't see yourself doing something for more than 6 months, what do? You don't do it. They work temporarily because anything works temporarily. I could starve myself for a week and I'd lose weight. But that's not sustainable. So 2 weeks later, I gained all it back. Many people just struggle to maintain these things because, again, not sustainable. And the biggest thing I want you to remember, because I've had a lot of clients who, when we get on when we get on our consult call, I'll ask them, okay, well, what have you done in the past that you feel like has worked for you when it comes to diet? And a lot of them will be like, here's an example that I've heard multiple times is, well, when I did keto, I lost all of the weight. It is the only thing that worked for me. And I was like, okay, but it didn't work. And it didn't work because here you are now, 20 pounds heavier. It didn't work. You weren't able to sustain it. So instead of following a trend, focus on building healthy, flexible habits that fit into your lifestyle that you can sustain. A good diet doesn't need a name. It's about consistency and fueling your body properly. And now we've made it. Number 10, the final one, the final countdown. Hitting your protein goal with protein shakes and bars won't cut it. Real food builds real results. Oh my goodness, how many people are out there like, no, I love my protein bar and my protein cookie and my protein shake and my protein this and that. It's fine. Moderation, right? Protein shakes and bars, they're convenient. They might help to satisfy your sweet tooth, but they're not a substitute for real whole foods. If you're relying on them too much for your protein intake, you're probably missing out on other important nutrients, and you're probably starving throughout your day. Think about if I was to sit down and eat a protein bar that's 200 calories versus I'm going to sit down and eat a plate of chicken and rice that's also 200 calories. Which one's filling me up more? You already know. Focus on real protein sources like lean meats, red meat, chicken thighs, fish, eggs. They provide not only protein, but other important nutrients that help to support your overall health and prevent nutrient deficiencies. The rule of thumb that I like to set is that if you're getting more protein shakes and bars and things throughout the day than you are actual real protein sources, we got to swap that. Because the amount of times where I'll watch a full day of eating on social media and they're like, I had a protein shake after my workout, and then I had a protein bar, and then I had protein oats, and I'm like, it's already fucking 5 p.m. and you haven't eaten real food yet. So just food for thought. Now, these fitness myths, nutrition myths, they're not just misconceptions, they're holding people back from real sustainable progress, which is why I felt the need to talk about them. So it's time to stop getting distracted or sidetracked by all of this misinformation and focus what actually works. Keep it simple, be consistent, and have the right mindset on what leads to lasting results for you. So I hope that this episode helped you kind of cut through that noise. And I hope that if you start implementing these things or taking some of these things that you've heard away, you're going to start seeing results, not from the quick fixes, but from hard work and a strategy that truly works. So go out today and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.